You want to do this in 5 seconds?
Okay.
You want to...
Loads Gunblade, God's Haunted.
Guns... Okay. Alright, let's do this. So, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1... Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Final Fantasy VII's Wiki podcast on Final Fantasy VII 2019 Final Fantasy VII. This was E3 this week, and if you're wondering why we didn't do an E3 episode last year, it's because there was no Final Fantasy news of any kind last year, and there wasn't any the year before. But this year...
And also we're lazy.
We are extremely lazy. That's why this comes out every 4 to 8 months, roughly. So, yes, I am your host. I am known as BlueHighwind on certain places in the internet. And these three wonderful gentlemen are joining me tonight. And they are...
Catuse.
I am, very dubiously, whatever. I'm hexed. You all know me. At me.
I'm Technobliterator, and I'm literally not known as anything else on the internet anywhere. So, hi.
Technobliterator is actually a shill for the home company, so you can't trust anything he says.
Yeah, I am now a fandom staff member, technically speaking.
Yes, full disclosure.
So, you're saying when the revolution comes, you'll be first against the wall?
He is a kulak, so he's probably going to be one of the last against the wall, but he'll be against the wall.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. When we run out of better people to put against the wall, he's going to be against the wall.
Okay, sure.
Yep.
But, yeah, so E3 happened, and at it, we got a big-ass trailer about what many people, myself included, thought was a myth, and honestly, I don't like 7, so it's not really a legend. But the FF7 remake.
We're not starting with that.
You like 7.
We agreed not to start with the Final Fantasy VII remake, and now we're starting with the Final Fantasy VII remake.
So that's the big news from E3 for as far as we're concerned. But first, we're gonna go through everything else. So
because you won't listen to this otherwise, unless we do this. We have to do this the slow way, or else you're not going to listen to the bigger other news, which, first one, and I think this is just the most exciting. I mean, I can barely even sit still in this. It's that Final Fantasy 15 is coming to Stadia, baby! Oh yeah! Alright.
Hey, you said 5 people that are excited for that.
Yep.
I still have no fucking idea how Stadia is going to work. It seems like it's just not going to work outside of, 1 square kilometer in, a European city, yeah.
It'll work in Japan, maybe.
But Google are doing that Google Fiber thing. And it's because they want people to have faster internet so that they can connect to services like that.
They're actually kind of not doing Google Fiber anymore.
Yeah, isn't the whole thing that, American corporations lobbied against fiber, or is it...
No. It turns out it's way more expensive than they thought. Because they tried burying the fiber a foot in the ground, and as it turns out, it rains. So, yeah, that doesn't work. So once it gets money, the fiber pops out, and it turned out to be way more expensive and way more difficult for them to do. So they've largely abandoned it.
So Stadia's it's a cool concept, but the problem with the game streaming service is it can only ever be as good as the internet infrastructure is, and the internet infrastructure in most of the world is not that great. And that will be the biggest roadblock to that being big. But I do think
yeah, honestly, I'm looking at the list.
Over this shit.
I'm looking at the list of all the games on Stadia. It's on Wikipedia. You're looking at this list. A lot of these are older games that it really feels like you would just be better off if you want to play Doom. Oh, this is the 2016 Doom. But even so, if you want to play Doom, just download Doom. Don't try to stream Doom through some fiber magic thing.
I don't think Google are coming out with this thinking that it's going to immediately take off and be like the next biggest thing. I think they're just trying to do it to be ahead of the curve so that they can be one of the ones who got there first. So in like, I don't know, 5 or so, decade or so time, however long it takes before the infrastructure is in place, they'll have been early to the market and they'll have like, got a lot of things in place so that they can be one of the market leaders. So that's why I think they're like rushing ahead to it.
My take is, with the way governments are working generally across the world right now, is that like it's not going to be until like the next literal generation of people, like 20 years down the line.
I think
that it takes that long. Yeah.
I think the Stadia is deeply disappointing because it is basically just an Xbox, but you don't have a box in your room. You actually have to buy Final Fantasy 15 again if you want to play it on Stadia. So it's not exciting, and it's not what anyone's here for. And honestly, we went longer than I thought we would on Stadia. But
yeah, okay. Let's move on to something important.
Yes, something very important, which is that Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles is coming to Switch, and I think something else too, right?
I'm very, very excited about Crystal Chronicles on Switch. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I never got the chance to play it because I never had a GameCube. But, like, it just seems fun. And I read a walkthrough of it in a gaming magazine, and, like, that made me very excited for that game.
I never got a chance to play that game because I didn't have friends. I had a GameCube, but not friends. And maybe now, like 20 years later, I have fixed that in my life. Do you all want to play Crystal Chronicles with me, my friends?
Yeah,
sure.
All
right, yeah, we should make this a wiki project at some point.
Yes.
After we finish all the other wiki projects that may or may not get finished.
There's a lot, and you will be seeing a lot of things coming from me within the next like however many months until 7 Remake finishes. Anyway, on to the next thing.
The next thing is a Final Fantasy Brave Exvius or something is getting a Final Fantasy Tactics game. It's called
it's called War of the Lions, except not really.
No, it's called Legend of the Shadows, Darkness of the Freedom, Shadowbringers.
War of the Visions.
War of the what?
War of the Visions.
War of the Visions.
War of the Visions. Yeah, okay, it sounds like you made it up, but sure.
No, that's the actual.
One of our editors is going to cover that game. None of the people on this podcast play it, so
I might play this.
My take is like the only point of gacha games is for cute anime girls, right?
Okay,
and like this has like this has like none of that. Like they're not cute.
So your problem with it is that the anime girls are not cute enough.
Yes.
This is deep cutting discourse. #takes here on the Final Fantasy Wiki podcast.
Honestly, do we have much else to say upon it? Like, it's another gacha game from Square in their stable of what? It's close to 10 or 11 gacha games now. It's just
yeah. It's because, those games are so huge in Japan, and it makes up such a large portion of Square's revenue that we're going to keep getting them, even though we don't want them.
Here's my confession. If that wasn't a phone game, that would have been an awesome trailer, and I think I would have been all for it. But,
yeah, if it wasn't Gachapon, that I would honestly say this game is awesome.
But... Yeah, it's like Final Fantasy Tactics Type 0, like almost exactly that. And unfortunately, it's going to my phone, and that means it's trash for casuals, so I can't play it.
Yeah, like I've softened my stance on mobile gaming a bit, mainly because I started playing Grand Blue. But like, if it wasn't just like completely gacha, it'd probably be interesting, or at least probably playable for a lot of people. But like, Gashapon puts a lot of bad tastes in a lot of bad people's mouths.
Yep. Okay, so next thing, and this is awesome, I think. I think this is just the tops, and that is Breath of the Wild 2. Okay.
It's not Final Fantasy related, but it is very awesome.
It is very
Like,
awesome,
I am
but
very
Final Fantasy VIII coming to Switch.
Not just coming to Switch. It's getting a full-on visual remaster.
yes. So, what I have to say about this is like, basically what you're seeing is like the graphics are being updated to if you look at the models now, they're kind of similar to like early PS2 models. So what you're gonna end up with is like you're gonna end up with the quality of the Final Fantasy IX port that we received recently for Switch and PS4 and etc. But probably even higher than that. So as someone who was like iffy on Final Fantasy VIII, I really look forward to a chance to like playing it properly. But I know a lot of people were really excited for this one. So, you know, it's good that the 8 fans finally got what they wanted, you know?
Not like when you take the worst thing about 8, honestly, is how it looks. It did not age well. And like
I could name a few things that might be kind of worse about 8 than how it looks, but sure.
and its storyline, but Jet like its visual rework makes it look of a similar like graphical quality to 12, and that's like a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
I think the remaster looks exactly like the Final Fantasy VIII Let's Play. Because the characters are slightly up-resed, and the frame rate was 10 frames per second. So it's exactly that. For all I know, they stole my footage.
What?
BlueHighwind sues Square for copyright infringement. Also.
I'm suing them for the shit I stole from them using that.
So it looks like it's getting the same kind of treatment with 9, and to explain why that's happening is basically the reason why we didn't get a port for 8 for so long, despite us getting a port for all the others, is because they lost the code base, more or less. It's because Square Enix back at the it wasn't Square Enix, Square back at the time.
Squareco
didn't
Ltd.
keep code bases. Yeah, so they didn't keep one for 8, and that's why that happened. That was a problem. Couldn't like remaster it. Like some people suspected it was to do with like the legal issues with Eyes on Me. I don't think that's much to do with it. I think it's just it takes so long to like rewrite so much of that code and like refix all the bugs that had been fixed prior to launch and everything. That it just took a gargantuan effort, and that's why we're getting this full-on like remaster treatment. Whereas with 9, I think the reason we got that treatment earlier is because it had the code base like already there, like they already had access to it.
And Final Fantasy VII was on PC, so they probably had that code too.
So was 8, but the
8 was on PC.
8 was on PC?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
All right. Well, that's Final Fantasy VIII. If you haven't played Final Fantasy VIII, it's okay. It's like not as good as 10, but you know, it's better than Final Fantasy 1. I think is where I'd rank it. Anyway, next thing, and this is definitely Final Fantasy related. It's Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC is coming with playable Aqua, Roxas, and playable Riku. So yeah, you got those 3. And it turns out, or it's heavily implied, that Luxord might be the master of masters. So you lure hounds out there, enjoy those little bits.
Was that really the implication? I thought the implication was just like Luxord is like just something completely different.
I don't know.
I don't.
Luxord knows more than he's putting on, which I think at this point the entire Organization 13 had their own sinister agenda, which is just hilarious to me.
Honestly, like I kind of love that. It's just like a syndicate of like idiots backstabbing each other.
So
literally,
like, plans and counter plans.
Literally, none of them were loyal.
For what it's worth, Google recommends that I search "Is Luxord the Master of Masters?" And I think the articles that it links like predate this by a few months. So
okay.
Well, they're wrong because Pluto is the master of masters. I figured this out. If you play Kingdom Hearts 1 again, Pluto is driving that plot. He's making everything happen. There's
sure.
Pluto can travel through corridors of darkness.
But can he travel through time and space?
I'm pretty sure he can. How did he get out of Castle Oblivion?
God knows.
Yeah, you
The
see?
question with this DLC is this one of the paid ones, or is this one of the
This
free
is
ones?
paid, as far as I know. It is paid story DLC.
So we know that like some of the DLC they're giving for free. So like we got Critical Mode for free. I don't know about paid or
I believe if it is story content, it would be paid. That's just kind of how Square Enix does things. And that's just kind of industry standard at this point. But like little tweaks and things like that, that stuff, they don't really even count as DLC.
Okay, we'll have to see.
Yeah, it is coming out winter, so probably 2020 February with all our luck. So, I crossed out most things. That leaves us with oh, there's something called Shadowbringers. Is this a Final Fantasy?
Yes.
This is Shadowbringers is the third expansion to Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. And it finally got its launch trailer at E3 yesterday or the day before. It's hard to tell with Aussie dates and stuff. It's a pretty good trailer.
Yesterday for me, if that helps.
It was, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, so basically in true fashion, the FF14 community has taken to shitposting massively about it, which I very much appreciate. And like every FF14 trailer, after like the end of the trailer, there's like a closing scene to the trailer which drops big fat lore bombs.
Okay,
Which,
I didn't understand what any of that meant, but you can explain now.
Basically, Lord's Gunblade, God's Haunted.
Okay. They told me that Hydlide is a primal. Now,
Yeah, so primals are basically sort of like gods, demigod things. Like Ifrit in 14's a primal, Shiva's a primal. Sort of, they're just like godly beings that do dumb shit. So like the concept of like basically God being a primal like is sort of out of left field for a lot of people, but it's been foreshadowed quite a bit.
yes, because Zodiark is a primal, and Zodiark was a summon in Final Fantasy XII. So really, you should have seen this coming.
Yeah, exactly. Zodiac is like also just anti-god, which is kind of cool.
Okay. So you can summon God in Final Fantasy XIV? Or no?
Well, the player
Not
can.
yet. Yeah, the player can.
Okay. All right. And I have a few other questions about that trailer. One, there was an extremely fat man with blonde hair. What is the deal with the big fat guy?
We actually don't know yet. Most people, I think, are assuming he's like sort of mid-boss villain of Shadowbringers, sort of like the Dragon 2, bloody whatever the big ass angel thing is called.
Sephiroth.
But yeah, let's go off that.
Okay.
Basically, he's like Saruman, and the other guy is Sephiroth.
Okay, I'm gonna say he's Don
Zara.
Corneo.
Sure.
Yeah. He's got the hair
But-
too, kinda.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
But really, the best thing of that trailer is like how cute the Sin Eaters look. So, yeah.
Also, the Warrior of Light I see is using my strategy when I go to bars. He is not shaved for about 3 days. And this is very useful because you don't get carded sometimes.
It shows that he is edgy and angry.
Yep, this is how I feel when I
Emotions.
don't shave. Yeah.
He used
Mostly,
to be a cute little poster boy.
yeah. Otherwise, I look like I'm like 22, and it's really annoying. Like on days I
Yeah,
shave, I look in the mirror and I'm like, damn, I'm just pathetic, aren't I? Okay. Anyway.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am. So, Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reshadowbrung, will be out July 4th. Is it? When's it out? July?
June
July-
28th is the early access, and I think the general access is like July 2nd. But nobody
Okay.
goes for general access. Everyone gets the early access. So is
Okay.
it really early?
Okay, so
I'm I'm just happy I have like the first 2 weeks of Shadowbringers off work.
That's awesome,
Good shit.
actually. Yeah. I
So,
will not be
announcement
in
relating
this.
to Shadowbringers, we are getting a new wiki theme based on it, which will be designed by me. Anyway, carry on.
You just gotta shill yourself, don't you? You have to interrupt the flow to go and shill yourself.
Contribute. I had nothing to contribute to the whole discussion, so
Okay.
I decided to pass in at the end.
Okay, thank you. It was very nice. I'm sure your new theme is going to look lovely. We will probably be doing a Final Fantasy Wiki Reviews Shadowbringers podcast come July. I don't think I'm actually going to be on that one.
Yeah, it's probably a bad idea for you to be.
I was on the last one. The discussion went well. I mostly sat on my hands the whole time. But I'm going to be on vacation in July, so probably just do it when I'm not around. And don't tell me about it. Just make it a total secret. Okay. So that leaves, I mean, like, what else do we got to talk about? We have a new Halo trailer. We have a new
Banjo-Kazooie and
trailer-
Smash.
Banjo-Kazooie and
Halo
Smash.
thing.
We have a lot of new Zelda. So much new Zelda.
Very hyped about Banjo-Kazooie and Smash.
We have Battletoads, which looks terrible. We have the new Commander Keen, which looks terrible. We have Ubisoft stuff, which all looks depressing and terrible. But Final
We
Fantasy
have Gamer
VII,
Dad Keanu Reeves.
Gamer Dad Keanu Reeves, and John Barenthal's dog, and the most adorable Japanese developer lady, who is getting lewd fan art of her drawn right now. Yep, it's true, and I've been assured it's true. I haven't seen any, but go and make time to look for some. I'm sure it's out there already. But I guess we could talk about Final Fantasy VII now, right?
I mean, it's been like half an hour. Yeah, we may as well.
We're making
Sounds
great
good.
time as podcasts go, actually.
Indeed.
Yep. So
So, who's gonna start? What are we starting with?
it seems like you're gonna start. You had the initiative.
Okay, well, so what more about the battle system, which is interesting. Now, the battle system is something that has been really contentious in the community for a while, and it's something that everyone was really curious about or dreading. But what I think they've done, and they've kind of done a really neat, like, I don't want to say it's a compromise, but I guess it is. Like, it's a neat compromise where, like, things that people like about, action-based systems, like what we see in Kingdom Hearts, for instance, where you have, like, the action is going on, there's something always happening, it keeps the combat engaging and exciting, so you have that, but you don't sacrifice, the strategic element of combat that was in the original game. So that's why that's why how the command system works is basically like your normal attacks will fill up your ATB gauge, which is what you had in the original, and once you have an ATB gauge filled up, that's when you use your like really powerful abilities. So you'll press, I think you press circle, and then it freezes time for a little bit, lets you select a command, and then you fire one of your magic spells from the material, whatever it is, or you use like one of your more powerful abilities. Like, I'm pretty sure that's replacing limit breaks now.
Limit
You
breaks
use
are
one
in
of
the
them
game.
on the enemy.
Just to clarify, there are limit breaks in this.
Okay.
There is a limit gauge too, if you look in
Okay, sweet.
in the trailer.
So you have one of those abilities, and that requires an ATB thing. So the way I've seen this described is it's as if so some people have described it as they took the things from the Final Fantasy 12, 13, and 15 combat systems. They chose what worked and what didn't work, and we got this mishmash at the end of it. I don't know if that's what they were deliberately going for, a mix of those three, but I do know that this combat system looks really fun. That they're keeping the things people like about the original. The thing I'm most happy about with the combat system by far is just how smooth it is.
Hexed, what are you
The
typing, bro?
transition between characters.
I'm typing. Let
What
me
are,
live.
what are you typing, man? Yeah, I can hear you
I'm quite-
typing. Okay, check now.
I'll continue.
Hex, stop looking up fan art of that Japanese developer, okay? It's not the time.
That's what he's doing, man. Yeah, so the thing I'm most happy about is how smooth the transition between the characters is. Like, because it seems like not only are you able to switch between them, you're actually encouraged. So, like, in Final Fantasy 12, like, I love that you're able to just switch party members, but it's entirely possible to, for instance, do what I did, where you have Ash the whole time, and she just casts Scathe, and then just destroys everything, and then you have no reason to, like, I mean, you've got the other people have their gamuts set up, you've got no reason to, like, switch to them. Whereas, and in 13 you can't switch, 15 you can't switch. Well, I mean, you can switch
13?
now in 15.
You can switch now, I think, in the latest patch in 15?
You can switch now, but you couldn't originally. And even though you can switch now, there's no reason, like...
Yeah,
there's
that game...
no, like, incentive to do it, yeah.
That game just...
play the game without it.
That game just does what people ask for without even thinking of how it's going to work at all. It is just, like, so desperate to please Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
I hate you. I don't hate you, but you sadden me in a way that people with no personality sadden me.
Like,
That was mean. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't know.
Okay, so... you're actually encouraged to switch party members now, and I'm very happy about that.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, like, as somebody who just generally as a whole is not a big fan of 7, like, the gameplay actually looked interesting, which is really weird because I was not expecting it to actually look or play good. Big confused.
Yeah. As somebody who last year wrote a piece saying that Final Fantasy VII just shouldn't be remade and they should just can the whole stupid thing and make Final Fantasy 16 instead, I like what I see. And I was very nervous about this gameplay because if it looked like it was just automated again, where you hold down one button and Cloud does combos, and you hold down another button and Cloud dodge rolls, I would not have played this. Or I guess I would have played it, but with a lot of begrudging anger, and then I would have complained for like 10 straight years about how much the game sucked. And I don't want to do that.
I mean, yeah, you already did that with 13.
Exactly. I have only so much hatred in my heart, and I've spent it all.
I wasn't looking forward to this, but now that we've seen it, I actually kind of like it.
Yeah, it looks very elaborate. Like the battle against Guard Scorpion looks like they extended it to like a 20-minute epic battle instead of it just being 2 minutes long, and then you die because you listened to the wrong. It tells you to attack while its tail's up, but you don't want to do that. That's a pro tip from a Final Fantasy VII veteran for you.
But also, Guard Scorpion is a cautionary tale on why you should not trust authority.
Yes, it
is.
is.
If you listen.
It fits into the themes of that game, which is that corporations are bad and lying to you, and capitalism needs to be demolished with giant monsters.
Okay, I was going to use this to segue into another piece of commentary, but there are 3 ways I can segue this into. So I'm not going to do
all
that
3.
Yet.
All 3 segues. I want to hear them. I'm counting
simultaneously.
Okay. First, point number 1. So yeah, well, with the combat system, as you can see, people have been pleased with it, and there's a reason for that. It's just because it would be a total waste of the materia system, and of the strategy you had in the original game if they didn't retain that, and if it was just a button hack and slash game, because I mean. Hearts, but even if they had a Kingdom Hearts system, just straight up in 7 Remake, I think that would be squandering the potential of the material combos that were so great about the original game's combat. So I think the reason this has worked for so many people is because you do have the balance there where you've got things that will excite new players and get them to be encouraged to play it, but you've also assuaged I don't know if that's the right word, but you've calmed the fears, I should say, of people.
Assuaged is the right word there, yeah.
I don't know what that word means, but I think I've used it in words before.
The second segue, you mentioned how, the dialogue changed a lot for the Guardian Scorpion. Bleh. It's not even called that anymore,
He's
is it?
called a
I think-
Sentinel Scorpion now. Or Scorpion Sentinel. They've changed his name like they changed Aerith to Aerith. And I think that's just non-canon. I'm not happy.
But will
The
she now
dialogue-
live?
She will not live. She's going to
It's
die
weird.
in Game 3, is my prediction.
Dialogue
Spoilers.
changes do not end there. So, one notable example people have already picked up on, and this wasn't from the E3 trailer, this was from the one before that, was how Aerith just gives Cloud the flower this time. And then there's the other one that I noticed, because I'm a massive Tifa fanboy, is that when you speak to her in Seventh Heaven, you see her talking more about, hey, I'm not sure that was the right thing to do, blowing up that place. In the original game, she wouldn't have said something like that. Because the original game, the whole point with her is she doesn't speak that much. She keeps all her feelings to herself, and she keeps them inside. And
On that
is only
point,
there to support
Techno,
other people.
of dialogue changes, I'm actually receiving a telegram from our man in the field, Jason Schreier, because none of us could be here, so I sent Jason. He's a very good employee of the Final Fantasy Wiki. He has gone and played this game, and he tells me that they've actually expanded the dialogue for all the characters. So now Jessie apparently in the demo has more dialogue than she has in the entirety of her existence in the original game, because she also dies. Spoilers.
It seems extremely plausible, but yeah. So they've changed the dialogue a hell of a lot. They're presumably expanding the story a hell of a lot. And the reason for that, they have to flesh these games out because there's 2 Blu-ray discs for Part 1 alone, and Part 1 is only Midgar.
Yeah, that's
Catuse, is it? How do you pronounce it?
You don't need to pronounce it correctly. You're American. Or you're British, whatever.
The anti-American.
You are an Anglophile. And don't know
Whatever his
Japanese.
name is, the producer and the
Catuse-san.
original director has said they don't know how many parts there are to this.
Yeah, I also
That's-
got that from our man in the field, Jason Schreier. He does great work. I'm so proud of Jason. He's coming up in the world. One day he'll be on our level, But, he's
I
crunching
agree,
out there.
he's a solid journalist.
Yeah. So, 2 Blu-ray discs is... I don't know if that's ever been the case for any PlayStation 4 game. And
Not has. Oh,
which one?
Dead Redemption 2.
Red Dead Redemption. Okay, that had 2 discs. So that's weird because it has
'Cause
not...
that's a huge ass game.
I'm trying to think when the last time games came on 2 discs, and that was PlayStation 1 era. That pretty much is unheard of now.
yeah, it's literally the PS1.
Yeah, I don't think
It's
any.
funny because in Metal Gear Solid 4, there's a joke in the game where it's like, haha, you don't have to Switch anymore because we now have Blu-rays and they have all this storage. Well, we've now maxed the Blu-ray storage.
Yeah.
So,
How big are Blu-ray discs? What, something like 40 gig or something?
gigabytes,
Yeah.
40 or 50, I think, something like that. I don't know.
something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
You
The
don't
Blu-ray
feel
disc.
the weight is the thing. Well, I think at this point we are moving past Blu-ray as a tech, and we're moving back to
I agree.
we're moving back to just discs. No, not discs, cartridges, effectively. Because you can get
the thing
you can
I
get a
will say
terabyte. You can get a terabyte on an SD card now.
Alright, so
about the difference between sorry, I'll just say this quickly and then you can go. But the difference between the disc, multiple discs now, is the second disc will just be installed. You use the second disc to install it on the hardware and then you only play it on the first disc. Anyway, now you can go, Catuse.
So 2 things to point out. One, I think that with the original Final Fantasy VII, where you had 3 CD-ROMs or whatever, I believe that you could access most, if you had Game Shark, you could access most of the content on any of the CD-ROMs. The main thing that took up all that space was FMVs. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
The second thing,
That's correct.
Second thing
Sorry,
is
ladies
that-
and gentlemen, you just heard a Windows update on this podcast from my
Okay.
computer. So, yeah.
So Blu-rays have 100, a third layer Blu-ray has 100 gigabyte capacity, so it's not really surprising that this is pushing the limits of what Blu-ray is capable of. Because what is the storage size of FF15?
I
Like 100
believe it's
something.
pretty low because the PC version had to be like 180 gigs. And they definitely couldn't get that on PlayStation 4. But a lot of it is download now. That's how they get around this.
Right.
Yeah, so I do have some concerns, not just in terms of storage, but the opening of Final Fantasy VII is about 7 hours if you're really taking your time to get out of Midgar. I'd say 5 more likely, maybe 10. I'm just gonna keep saying hours for some stupid reason, but the thing is, all of that time in Midgar is very scripted. You are going from one place to another, dungeon, maybe a little bit of town, dungeon, cloud and address, dungeon. And do you think 40 hours of that is going to be good? Or
Here's what I think.
are we going to end up
and why
with
I
Final
think
Fantasy
it's like it.
13 Part 4?
What
here's
we're
what I
going to get is an entire 2 seasons of Midgar's next top model starring Miss Cloud.
I love it.
Calling it now.
I love it. Keep pitching me. Keep going. We're on to something here.
Here's what I think. The reason I think they did this is because they decided to model the whole of Midgar. Not just like the bits you see in the original game, the whole city. And they thought, if we're going to do this, this is maxing out so much storage, we may as well just stretch the whole part out to be like a full game on its own.
Where are
and
you
have the
hearing
full
that they
game
made
get
the whole of
Midgar.
Midgar? Has that been reported anywhere?
But
Or is-
that's my speculation.
Okay, that's your
'Cause
speculation.
If the
okay.
game, if this is 2 Blu-ray discs, right? I think we're seeing all 8 sectors that we will get to visit.
You're thinking it's
Like,
open world
it-
GTA Midgar.
That unironically would be a good game.
That could be a good
Yeah,
game.
why not?
Not gonna lie.
What if we merged? What if we merged Shinra Corporation into Grand Theft Auto and put it on 2 Blu-ray discs?
It's pretty much just Cyberpunk 2077, except it's Midgar. That actually sounds cool. I like the sound of that. But
That sounds amazing.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if I see that because it looks like everything in the trailer is scenes from the original game. They might be still holding things close to their chest.
No, there's one notable difference. The motorcycle segment that you see in the trailer with Jesse in it. Yeah, the original motorcycle segment, Jesse was already dead.
Oh, I didn't notice. I thought that was Tifa or something. Okay, so there's more motorcycle. Okay, that is interesting. So they are adding stuff. But like from what I saw, it was like, all right, this is Shinra Tower. This is a Sector 5 reactor. This is I didn't see Wall Market, unfortunately. And Cloud was not an address in the trailer, but one's hoping it can happen. God willing.
It's gonna happen.
Gaia
already
willing,
confirmed
not
it.
God. There is no God. There's only Gaia.
Another god rejected.
Yep. Yeah, God is a primal, I think is what we've discovered tonight.
So my take is they're gonna move Motorball somewhere else because Motorball is not a good final boss.
I just tweeted that last night. I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be your final boss.
I wonder
Well,
if
they're
the
moving
final boss
Motorball
will be, like,
somewhere
Rufus
else,
Jr. or
and
someone.
then they're maybe gonna end with the like long rambling backstory revelation about Sephiroth and tiny village whose name I forget.
You think they're gonna go to Calm and then have the Nibelheim flashback?
Yeah, and then they're gonna wrap up the story there. I think that would be the best place to end the story.
I think that would be a good place to end it too, but I don't know if they're actually gonna leave Midgar because they haven't said that they are. So assuming that, you could move whatever that boss's name is. I forgot him. I forgot already. But you could end with Cloud versus Rufus. That'd be a kind of cool final boss.
I was thinking that.
Dude's got a shotgun and great hair. He could be a good
I
final
was gonna
boss.
say, like, as far as the final scene goes, I don't think they need to even include the calm bit. What I would do, and what I think they're gonna do. Remember that scene at the end when you're just leaving Midgar, and it's like this kind of emotional moment where like they're leaving the place behind and they're going on to like a different place and whatever, and they see the road out ahead of them. I think they're gonna end on that, and then the next part will start with the calm thing. So that's how it sets you up.
This all leads
If
to a
that
lot of
makes sense.
structural issues because like that means you're playing 40 hours of a game where you don't even know your main character's backstory basically. That's
And
kind of
that's
weird.
a big yikes.
And also, like the other weird thing about this is that we have 4 other party members who theoretically are not going to show up at all. Like you'll end up with Red 13 joining in the last 2 seconds. And then that means
Yeah, I
no
don't think he's
Yuffie, no
playable at this
Vincent
point.
Valentine, no Kate Sith, which that's not a problem. No Sid Highwind. He's kind of a problem now, though. I could see them wanting to push Sid Highwind out a bit. You know, you can't depict some of his scenes.
They ain't gonna
in
get rid of
HD.
him. They're just gonna change his backstory.
I think
Like,
he's
they're
not.
gonna make him like less of an abusive dickhead.
He's not gonna slap his wife. Is what's gonna happen. You can't do that in HD. Like if you do that, your audience is gonna turn against him immediately, and he'll be the most hated character ever. You can't do that in 2024 when it comes out. Yeah. So do you think they're gonna add the party members in here, or they're just
No,
gonna
I don't
save
think
all of
so.
them for later?
I wouldn't be surprised if they save some of them for game 2, but honestly, like, they seem to be, like, just having the possibility of reworking a lot of things, so it's all up in the fucking air.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting though.
It is. Tifa has thigh-high stockings, and
Setai Ryuriki.
yeah.
Boy.
People were complaining
Yeah,
that you
that's-
can't see her legs, and I'm just like, yo, y'all,
Oh my
No,
God.
this is better.
this is way better. This is far better.
I remember earlier when I said I had 3 segues, and I've now done 2 of them.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that.
Okay, so here's my 3rd segue.
Very excited.
Yeah, so I've forgotten it. That's really exciting.
That's really exciting. I feel like we should end it there. There's not going to be a better
Last
ending than that. Well, I mean,
Last thing.
you know, we
Wait.
don't need to end it. We could riff forever if we wanted to.
So here's the last thing that I am proposing we do. So 5 things you are predicting will happen with the remake. 5 things you hope will be in, and 5 things you hope will not be in.
Okay, how about we do 5 things we want in, 5 things we don't want in? Because I feel like 5 predictions, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go first because I'm talking. So, 5 things I want in. Number 1, I want Wall Market. I want Cloud in the dress.
That's enough.
Sorry.
Sorry.
What? No, it's there. I want it all there. I want to design the dress. I want to spend 10 hours in the Wall Market. I want a mini game where I apply the makeup. I'm going to make Cloud beautiful. And by extension, I will make myself beautiful in the process. Number 2, I think I already said I want Rufus as the final boss. I think that just sounds cool. Number 3, am I limited to just this first game, or can I do all of it?
No,
No, just go for the whole thing, man.
Okay. For number 3, I want game 2. I want only 3 games. I don't want there to be like 15 of these fucking things. Number 4, snowboarding. Put it in somewhere. Number 5, I don't know. Maybe Vincent Valentine shows up in Shinra Tower. Just like, he's just there. And he's a vampire. Right? And you know what? Vincent Valentine, this time, he talks in a Transylvanian accent. I am Vincent Valentine. Like that. That can be him. 5 things I don't want. Number 1, I don't want Kate Sith. Just in general. Number 2, I don't want the game to be 14 discs. Do we have to do 5?
Yeah, 5 is too much.
5's too many.
5 is way too much.
All right. Let's do 3. For the rest of you do 3. I'm the host. I get the extra points.
Okay.
I get the extra experience too. Okay. Sad boy fuck, you go next.
Okay, so things I want. Well, like HD Knights of the Round is just basically my number 1. Just I don't give a damn if it's like 5-minute song. Just give me like 5 minutes of like Knights of the Round. I don't care about much else. I do hope they sort of fix the pacing of 7. Like, a big part of my issues with 7 are its paced. Wait, is that something I want to And
You can choose
thirdly-
whatever you want, baby. This is you.
And thirdly, like, I'm not sure really if there's a third thing I want. Just Knights of the Round is the biggest one. Things I don't want. I don't want like so much sort of filler. Like 7 has a lot of filler in my opinion. It's not very streamlined.
It has a lot of really, really bad mini games. Like
Yeah,
shockingly
that's,
bad mini games.
That's basically, yeah. There's two. Like, I hate being that guy who says, "But my mini games." But yeah, mini games are.
I don't want to do heart compressions on the beach, and take like 10 goddamn minutes getting that working, or jumping on the dolphin.
To be fair, I don't know if that scene would fly in 2020. Honestly,
I don't think it would either. Yeah, now that you think.
I don't think half of the things in 7 20s, not 20 whatever.
2019. The hot tub scene that does fly in 2019 now more than ever.
No, but you know what else wouldn't fly?
What about the
Congratulations, you are our 100th
HAW?
couple of the night. Oh wait, no, you're not. Sorry.
Congratulations. Okay, sad boy, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. Catuse the Jet Black. I can't see the rest of your name.
Traitor.
Okay. Your name's too long. Make it shorter.
I am sorry that the Japanese name of Shadowbringers is really long.
It's really cool though.
That's what it's called, the Jet Black Trader?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The game is called Jet Black Trading, which is much better than Shadowbringers.
Why didn't we not bring this up earlier? Now I want to play this.
Anyways, back on topic. So FF7 had a lot of replay value deriving from how broken it was. You could just screw around for hours, just trying to just screwing around with the battle system because how none of it like actually worked very well and everything was incredibly unbalanced. I kind of want some elements of that to stick around. Like I don't think that I think that it's 2019. Companies know how to make games now, and they know how to make games that are reasonably balanced. But I still want that element of, oh, you know what? I bet I can just beat this guy without any items or any equipment because, you know, my materia is so broken or whatever. That was cool. I like that. So that was something. I guess related to that, I want Ruby and Emerald weapon in HD.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the weapons.
I want Ruby and Emerald weapon. Like I feel like Knights of the like just the usual thing of you put Daves and you do Knights of the Round wouldn't really make sense in this battle system. So I'm looking forward to what they have in store for us. Hopefully it doesn't just sit there and hack at them for like 40 minutes.
I am curious how summons work in this game because summons are confirmed. The collector's edition, which is $10,000 billion, shows that it comes with I think Cactuar and Carbuncle. Is that
You
it?
don't need the collector's edition for that. That's the deluxe edition, as it.
Well, anyway, I've seen it in the images, so there definitely are summons. I don't know how they're going to work.
Yeah.
Hopefully they work not terrible, because this series hasn't had good summons since Final Fantasy X, which is shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Even 14 has like real issues with Aggies. Anyways, I'm picky, so I'm going to say I don't want this to be like a totally open world game where we can just wander around Midgar for like 40 hours and there's nothing in it.
I think that's unlikely. Gonna be honest.
Okay, but at the same time, I'm afraid of Midgar just being like a straight line.
That's more likely.
So I don't want either of those things. And,
what if it's a big circle? Or you know what? What if it's a giant pizza?
But like
Even like a weird spiral is probably fine.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's hope that it's a giant pizza and that Square Enix sells like Midgar pizzas along with their Heavensward Hawaiian pizza that they sell.
Wait, where do they sell that?
In
They sell it
Australia.
at Domino's in Australia.
Oh man, can you like ship me some of that? I guess it won't be any good. It will. There's no way
They've
to survive.
They've stopped the promotion, but
So
yeah.
I want Midgar pizza.
Man, I could go for some Hawaiian pizza. All right.
And I think. Oh, and I want the
Good,
ending.
but
You
I'm
gotta
vegan, so I can't.
have Rufus and you gotta have Sephiroth, so that like we don't just go through 40 hours not revealing any backstory at all.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's all. I don't know. I wasn't counting, so I might have done like 6 and 4 or something. Whatever. Just move on.
You know what? Numbers are an illusion, man.
Okay, moving on.
Technobliterator.
So,
Yes.
I've remembered what my third segue was, and I'm gonna put it as my first hope. So, my prediction is that Cloud will have a cell phone. And let me elaborate on that. So aside from the obvious stuff with like, oh, Nomura likes to put phones in games, like there was a fucking phone in Kingdom Hearts 3.
And it was
But
awesome.
The thing is, like, yeah, so back with when 7 came out, you know, the game's plot is mostly about well, with Shinra anyway, it's mostly about an evil corporation, and like the themes of the game are not at all subtle reference to climate change or metaphor of climate change. There's like a lot of income inequality that goes on with like so you go around all the different towns and you see the places that this company has screwed them over by taking their jobs away. So when the game came out in the 90s, the top 5 corporations were all, today they're mostly technology companies, the top 5. Am I cutting out a lot?
No, you're not. You seem fine. You're
Cool.
saying
Today, the
you're
top
hippie
5
bullshit about how much you hate Facebook, I think.
You could say that, but no, I think it would be like an interesting angle if they go with it, where Shinra also, you know, they control the digital age of Midgar's world. You know, where it's like Avalanche can't like get away with stuff because, you know, Shinra are hacking into their communications or whatever. You know, so I
Shinra,
think there are interesting ways to update the story, going on the themes of the original and making them, because I mean the themes of the original are still relevant today. You know, climate change, if anything, is more of an issue now than it was back then. So yeah, I think it would be a great way to update that.
I was just going to interrupt.
That
Shinra
that's my
actually
first.
did control the media in Final Fantasy VII. That was a minor plot point. The newscasts were all controlled by Shinra, and in Crisis Core, they had Shinra News, which produced nothing but propaganda. And I remember there being a vertical about a Sephiroth fan base, where they tried to figure out what kind of shampoo he used.
Oh jeez.
This is all canon.
Sounds
I remember
realistic.
this. Yeah.
Why?
Well, I transcribed
Sounds
all this.
plausible.
I transcribed all of this for the wiki for some reason. Anyway, Techno, you had
So,
other hopes.
my second hope, I'm gonna make, is just that I really want them to give Tifa more backstory, because I love Tifa, she's my favorite character, and I think there's a lot of her story that's unexplored. So, for instance, you know, the time from when, like, the Nibelheim incident happens to when she joins Shinra, I think that's a good, like, moment to showcase the character development from her going from this scared little girl who just lost her family to this Sephiroth guy and, like, just got stabbed by him, to now this, like, badass fucking martial artist that is part of Avalanche and is an eco-terrorist. So I think there's a lot to explore there, and I hope they do that. My third hope for the game is that I hope that the materia system is even more expanded than the original. The materia system has so much potential. It's the greatest, like, it's one of the greatest mechanics in terms of like character building. That, like, it's such a genius system. I love it. I just want to see more of it. I want it expanded. Yeah, that's my 3 hopes. My 3 don't wants. Relating to the first thing, resist the temptation to just quote unquote update it and make it just about Trump. You know, I don't want this to be like, oh, Final Fantasy VII reimagined for the Trump era. I want this to be a timeless game.
You
I
know
don't want them
someone's
to be
writing
too
that
topical.
vertical already. Someone is writing that piece now. That is
Christ.
unavoidable.
I was gonna do that. Like, I mean, it's annoying, but I want this game to be timeless. I don't want it to be too topical. I want them to be metaphors that are like, the social commentary in 7 is mostly through metaphor, with the whole live stream thing representing the planet and whatever. I want them to stick to that because I want this to be a timeless game. I don't want it to just be like hyping up about the political era or whatever.
You're just saying you don't want your games to be political, aren't you, Techno?
No, I'm not. I actually I'm just saying it wouldn't fit 7.
I
mean,
disagree
something
almost completely.
Something like Metal Gear Solid,
yeah,
it's fantastic. But for something like Final Fantasy,
Donald Trump does not need to be in this game. But the official FFVIIWiki of let's not even bring it up. We'll move on. We'll pretend we didn't even say that monster's name.
Speaking of monsters, for number 2, I hope that the monsters don't take too long to kill. Because that was a problem in Final Fantasy 15.
It was a problem in 13 too, I feel.
And 12.
13 as well.
I didn't think it was a problem in 12. Some of them went down in one hit.
Yeah, 12 it wasn't so bad. 13 is when like the combat duration creep is when it started going out of control, in my opinion.
I don't even remember the battles in 13 anymore. Like, it's all gone. It's completely disappeared.
That's probably for the best.
I remember the bosses. Some of the late bosses were good. Other than that.
The reason I bring this up, as much as I loved the Sentinel Scorpion, is that its name? Scorpion Sentinel
something
footage from the trailer.
Steve.
Something like
his
that.
His name's Steve, yeah, Steve.
You fight. The first boss. Like, I loved it, but it looked like that boss was taking forever to die. And I hope it's not every single boss is like that.
I think every single boss is going to be like that. They have they have to get 40 hours out of this thing. So, like, I imagine they're going to be long bosses.
40 hours, but like 30 of it's just one boss.
Seeing them in the low levels when they haven't got many abilities yet. I don't think they even have that many materia equipped yet. So it might be that it gets more interesting later on. But, I hope it doesn't, I hope every fight is not totally boring. My third and final don't want for this game is I don't want it to focus too much on Sephiroth. It might be part of, Sephiroth was never as interesting as Shinra to me as far as villains go, but I don't want this to just be a nostalgia fest of, oh, wasn't it really cool when Sephiroth, ran through the fire that one time and killed that massive dragon one time. I don't want it to be about that. I want it to be about the themes that made Final Fantasy VII really interesting, which was, in my opinion, Barrett, when you get to see him as an eco-terrorist, and then you get to go to his hometown and you find out why he became an eco-terrorist. How Shinra screwed over all these communities. I want it to be about that.
Okay. I actually have one more hope. I just thought of it while listening to other people's rambling, and that is, I hope this game gets Cloud right. In that Final Fantasy VII, in every single remake and reimagining of it, has just made Cloud into Squall. Where he's just basically just like, oh, Sephiroth burnt my village and now I'm angry and I'm so broody and whatever. Like, in the first disc of Final Fantasy VII, you can see Cloud as being somebody who's trying to be cool. And I want to see that. I want to see somebody that clearly has a personality crisis going on, where you can tell, scene from scene, something is up with this guy. There's this kind of psychological horror.
I wonder if that's why they recast.
I'm sorry?
I was saying, I wonder if that's why they recast all the voice actors, because the voice actors are completely different for the remake, and I wonder if that's to distance themselves from the compilation.
Maybe it's just because the compilation voice actors weren't very good. They were passable, I guess. I mean, they did a better job than I would, I guess, but I really want to get that psychological horror identity crisis part of Final Fantasy VII in this. and they don't need to go too far with it because it's just the first disc. But like one of the greatest parts of Final Fantasy VII, like one of the best parts of this game, and maybe in any part of the series or any JRPG, is the whole section where you go inside Cloud's brain. That's just amazing to me. It's some Evangelion just nonsense.
I love that bit.
Yeah. And I'm just worried that if they just make Cloud into Squall, there just won't be any time for that, or it just won't make any sense to do it that way, and you'll just end up with this really... You'll end up with the cliche JRPG protagonist, which is the perception people have of Cloud, but it's never really what I thought Cloud actually was. So...
I agree. Like,
yeah.
I think one of my favorite things about 7 was, like, a lot of the games don't do this, but every character has at least a side quest dedicated to just them, where you learn about their backstory. Tifa is the unfortunate exception where her backstory got shoved into Cloud's.
No, you discover about her master, don't you? You learn Zonkin is the guy's name?
Like, it's like a tiny amount compared to the others. It's not like a full quest.
Yeah, Yuffie got
So,
more.
like, that's what I meant with my hope. Like, I hope she gets her own quest.
Well, Kate Sith didn't really get one.
To be fair, though, does anybody want anything quite she?
Whatever, whatever you call him.
He doesn't need one. Just give one to Reeve, and then you're good.
Yeah. Actually, just cut Kate Sith and just put Reeve in the party. Can we do that? I don't like Kate Sith at all. I just don't like him. I don't like his face. Anyway.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, so what also happened this week was E3, so I just think before we end, what's the game of E3? Does anyone have a game in mind? Okay. I guess nobody does.
Honestly, like, I haven't been... I'm not really hyped about anything, but I don't really buy new games, so...
Okay.
I am an old man staring at a cloud.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead, because I buy new games, because I have disposable income, because I am an adult. I am going to say that the game of E3 was actually The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening Remake. I think it looks adorable. Even though I think it was at E3 last year. Still the game of E3, because Tunic's not at this E3 so far. Tunic looks adorable. That's a Zelda Fox game.
2077. Like
Okay.
Nothing's going to beat Cyberpunk for me. Remake, I would put the 7 Remake as a close second.
I haven't seen anything from that this year that looks cool yet. They need to show gameplay or something. Keanu Reeves is enough for a conference, but it's not enough to be game of E3.
No.
Oh, you know what? It's Commander Keen. Commander Keen's game of E3. We'll end it there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We're done.
Sure.
Goodbye.
Yep. That's the episode title, by the way. Commander Keen is game of E3. All right. So
Sure.
I guess I'll stop recording there.
Yeah. Okay, we're done.
You're done? So what did you think of it?
Yeah. That was a mess.
That was a mess. Okay.